back, Juventinità, to the Juventinità, back to Black and White Podcast. My name is Angela Negro, and we're live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And today we're going to be going over, this was supposed to take place yesterday as your kind of quick reaction time, but that's all right. That's my bad as usual. It's becoming the occurrence as of late. But anyways, we move on. We trudge forward, and we have a new guest on, and I appreciate him coming on. Dean Massaro, obviously at 75 Massaro on Twitter, as you probably all know. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no worries. Again, sorry for all the hassle, and we'll get right into it, though. It was a crazy Derby della Mole. Yeah. And, for anyone watching that game, it was such a roller coaster ride. Please check out La Panchina. It is out, just dropped about, I want to say, half hour ago. But definitely check it out. I've retweeted it. Al's got it posted as well if you want the links. And it was such a fun time. I actually, before I even posted it, I watched the whole thing through. Yeah. And I was just laughing again at our reactions. Obviously, James, as you all know, Jimmy_Stallion, who's been on the show multiple times. Obviously, Al, and then Auber at Juventinità 190. So it was a good time. Good reactions, and I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And stay tuned for more whenever we get back on the show. So in terms of this show, there should be another Cafe Juventinità coming on Molten again tomorrow as well. We're gonna have our resident Barca fan coming on to preview that game midweek. Couple other takes are gonna happen before that game, hopefully. And we move on. Again, all on all the platforms that you guys know well and have been showing a lot of support. But anyways, Dean, thank you for coming on again. And obviously, as a resident of Pennsylvania, friend from just south of us in the U.S. And as always, new guest to the show. I know you've probably said it before if you've been on Al's podcast, but how did you become a Juve fan? We'd all love to know.
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being on. I'm a big fan of all your work here.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, it was a little tedious getting us on here, but we're finally doing it.
No worries. It's all me.
No, just some scheduling things. That's all. We make it work when we can.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm a pretty recent Juve fan. For me, it has all started back in like the 2011, 2012 year.
Yeah.
I was in college here. I live in State College, Pennsylvania, which is where Penn State University is located.
Oh, nice. Okay, it makes sense now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it makes sense. But yeah, so it was really my college friends here. They were really big in Serie A. Most of my group is mostly Roma fans. Little Lazio and little Fiorentina sprinkled in there. Unfortunately, anyway. But so I didn't really have a team, so they got me watching a bunch of games and watching the league and everything like that. One specific moment that really caught me was I believe it was the 2012 Euros. I remember sitting down and watching that game, the game Italy versus Spain, with my friends here, and for some reason just Pirlo captured my attention. Gigi captured my attention. They both have really good games against that Spain squad, and come to find out they play for the same squad, and the black and white stripes for some reason caught my attention as well, and the rest is history.
That was the first game I hope you're talking about, not the final.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it might have been the final, but I can't really pinpoint it, so I'll go with your former and say it was the first game, maybe.
Yeah, because I mean, in the first one, it was actually a really close game. And that was the first tournament after, the 2 years before 2010 disaster class.
Yeah.
Where we win the World Cup, and now all of a sudden we're out in the group stage.
Yeah.
Then you have obviously 2 years later under a new coach, kind of a good crop of players, some older guys. And just that first goal from Pirlo just floats the ball over the top to Di Natale, and he scores. Yeah. And, being up 1-0 against arguably probably the best squad out there internationally at the time, and even if you look at the players that played club football, again, they were dominating as well. Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy first game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win that game. They scored one.
Yeah.
And again, the final. I was actually in Jamaica at the time, and it was literally like at least for the final. I watched most of the tournament in Calgary, but I watched the Germany game there in Jamaica, and there was actually 5-6 Italians, so it was actually pretty cool. And they actually had it in the little discotheque there at the resort. Nice. They put the game on, and then for the final, it was literally like, I don't know, there was a ton. I couldn't even get a count on it, but there was a ton of Spanish fans, and it was just like me and my cousin and my buddy, my best friend who's been on the show, Jesse. Yeah, that was a horrible experience to watch that game. I'm not gonna lie. But no, that's great, man. It's all, different ages, different experience, different timelines, but it's cool because we all resonate with the same black and white stripes, and we've all felt pain at some point. I think if you're a fan from, even if you aren't from before Calciopoli, I mean, we've had plenty of finals that have disappointed us. Yeah. So unless you're a real recent fan, then maybe you could say you haven't felt the pain yet, but a lot of us all have. So but anyways, we get into this game now. With that formation, it was kind of talked about, is Bernardeschi going to get the start? Is Artur going to get the start, which originally I thought he was going to be. We see the lineup, and I'll just read it off here. As we all know, Danilo, Bonucci, Della, Quadrado, Szczesny in goal, Kulusevski, which is on the left, but it worked out him going onto the right-hand side, and Chiesa going onto the left with Rabiot, Bentancur as the midfield. And then you obviously had Ronaldo and Dybala. Was there any kind of surprise seeing those guys selected, and kind of what were your thoughts before the game? Were you kind of excited? Were you excited to see those guys play? Concerned? Your thoughts?
I mean, no, I was definitely excited because this is that type of formation. I really feel is better suited to our players that we have. I don't think the 3-back, it's very much argued right now, but I don't think the 3-back formation is what we have personnel wise. So I was excited to finally see kind of a natural fit for some of these guys like Kulu and Chiesa, and I would have probably switched them, maybe have him on the right or Chiesa on the right and Kulu on the left. I think it's a little more natural for them. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was excited. I don't feel like the formation stayed that way, but
it's weird. We'll go through the game kind of just on certain situations, and I agree with that point that you made. It was weird watching that game live and just seeing the attack not really, get involved for large majority. I mean, there's no and again, we'll get into the whole Dybala situation as one of the topics, but really Ronaldo or Dybala did not connect well with the midfield at all or together. Bentancur and Rabiot, I thought, had a very average game. We're not dictating the play. We're just not on. They weren't making the right passes. And it just leads into a whole bunch of stuff that we're gonna get into. But you look at the way the midfield was inexistent, and right there, that's gonna lose you in terms of transitioning from when you're getting attacked to going into attack. I found that Pirlo needed to make some key decisions that he didn't, and maybe that's an experience. We'll get into that. But obviously going down 1-0 was really a piss off, as you guys will probably see in the video. But Torino was really doing whatever they wanted. I mean, they had multiple chances throughout the entirety of the first half and even the second, and they were running at us with no hesitation. So what are your thoughts kind of on that goal that we conceded, as well as kind of Torino's play, and were you surprised by us kind of not being able to handle their pressure and their counters?
Yeah, I mean, going back to your point before, I feel like there was definitely a disconnect between the midfield and the attack, with Rabiot and Bentancur. Yeah. I feel like that translated because we got killed on the counterattack every single time. That's pretty much the bottom line of this game. When it comes to that corner and Torino's first goal, it just was. I mean, I understand, you think it won't go on the first touch, but I mean, I just think it was piss poor defending.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And we've been seeing that a lot, and it just doesn't. It seemed like, you get the first touch there, and then it goes to Nku, and it just seemed like everyone was like half asleep almost. Yeah. Like, oh, we're actually in a game right now. Like, we actually have to defend. Like,
yeah,
the ball's just not going to magically come to us like a magnet. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. And again, you look at the incident at the end of the Lazio game. Again, everybody was half asleep. Lazy defending, lazy tackling, soft marking, and that's how you get goals scored on you at the end. So again, we deserve that one coming down, but they had multiple chances.
For sure.
And again, referring back to the video, I mean, you'll see us freaking out over on counters where I felt that Torino messed up a bunch of their counters, and that they could have, if it was a better team, more talented team, they would have burned us for 2-3 goals.
Yeah.
You have Bellotti with an insane scissor or bicycle kick, whatever you want to call it. If he puts that in, we're really in trouble. But in terms of defensively, we're still wide open. We come off a game where, and Juve's been doing this. I want to get your take on this, but it doesn't seem like we can string games together. I've been saying this, okay, we look good we won against Cagliari 2-0. I wouldn't say it was an amazing game, but it was a positive game.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously winning with a clean sheet. Then obviously you get the Dinamo Kiev game where we looked pretty good, but Dinamo Kiev didn't seem very interested for the start. And then we come into this game. So I believe it was Cagliari, and then it was Ferencváros, which I thought was an awful game of just crossing the ball in. Pirlo not changing anything for the whole game and just crossing. And, then we get lucky enough that Morata scores the one cross that actually works out of 20. Right. So we can, why do you think we're having such difficulty stringing games together? Is it just checking out, or you think just we're getting lucky in these, and maybe these games were looking good? Are not a good barometer to see how we're really, playing? What are your thoughts, Dean?
Well, I think it's been a curse of the past couple of years where we're a little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing, where we have a good game and then the next one it's completely flipped on its head. I did make a note for this game, we should have been down probably 2-0 after 13 minutes because Bellotti was a killer the whole game. And luckily for Della, we probably would have been down 2-0.
Yeah.
And, I think we have a problem where we don't have the killer instinct. I really, we play down the competition.
Yeah.
And you kind of hit on the head. Yeah, unfortunately. But you hit on the head there, Dan, where I don't, we made adjustments way too late. Yeah. You have to take into account what's going on and feel something out. But we just do it to ourselves.
Yeah, and I guess obviously watching the La Panchina, and obviously it gets edited, from being, 2 hours to 30 minutes. So during that first half, again, you mentioned the Delict. Obviously he saved our ass with that shoulder tackle, which was pretty big. Again, that would have been another breakaway that they would have gone in on and potentially scored. There was lots of that, but yeah, I mean, I was asking, a few of the guys were asking, why isn't, not necessarily, okay, if you don't want to start them because you want to keep them kind of fresh for the Barcelona game, we're thinking, is he hurt? Did he pick something up? Are they not telling us anything? And I haven't really looked at the post-match, and I'll do it for the next podcast that I have with Daniel Lucci, but I'm not sure why it took so long to realize. Even Bentancur is not playing well at all. We have 5 subs. Why are we waiting till? Well, he played the whole game, but why are we waiting that long to keep him on? Because if there is a nagging injury, okay, that makes sense. But even Kulusevski, I just thought it wasn't his game. I've really liked a lot of things that I've seen from Kulusevski. Al made a good point. He said he kind of his touch is hit and miss. Sometimes he's driving the ball. He can 1-2s with Ronaldo and stuff like that. But then there's other times it's just it's bouncing off his foot. He's not putting the ball in the right spot. It's kind of a tale of two sides of kind of Jekyll and Hyde with him sometimes, and it's unfortunate. But I still think he's got a lot to give, and it's still kind of early with Kulusevski to make judgments. But knowing that and kind of seeing him, and then to bring on Ramsey, who I didn't think was that effective in the Kiev game.
Right.
But since we had won that game 3-0, is it in Pirlo's head that, okay, maybe it worked, maybe he thinks it was working, so that's why he brings him off a like for a like, to put him in that same position that he was before. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts with kind of the decision making, and obviously, Kulusevski's game I thought was not great yesterday.
Yeah, I feel he's still kind of a mystery because we play him in so many different spots.
Yeah.
We don't have a set position for him, which is I think a problem for a lot of our guys.
Yeah.
That we're still trying to figure this whole thing out. I think he's also kind of, I know he's young, but I feel like he's still he has those moments where he's still growing into his body.
Yeah.
He's very, I don't know. His dribble is a little odd sometimes, but it works out for him. So I think he's still trying to figure things out, which we all trying to do right now. But, I mean, just the way it was. I mean,
especially with him and Dybala too. Just to bring that up, I thought they did not connect well at all, especially him being on the right side. And you almost think maybe if Chiesa was on that side, maybe it would have been a little bit better, which we saw for a little bit, but then they would rotate back. Like, I'll let you finish up, but we'll definitely get into the attack after this because I'm starting to question what Pirlo's even trying to do. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, you definitely make some good points there. I mean, the kid's all over the place. I feel like he's getting in other people's positions, and I feel like Paolo's still trying to figure stuff out because I saw him, falling back and playing right mid at some points. I'm like, he's definitely not that type of guy. Like, you need to be in the middle, near the attack. You need to funnel towards Ronaldo and stay there. But they're just, everybody's getting into different spots. It's just not working out, and I feel it's still kind of a guessing game.
Yeah, exactly. And like you brought up Dybala, and I think he's gotten a lot better from what we've seen. I think he made some good runs. I think he was putting the ball around, and like not prevalently, but there was some situations where you saw, okay, he just needs to break away. I remember one where he had the ball all by himself and he dished it off. I thought he should have just burst with some speed. So maybe he doesn't have that speed there quite yet. Maybe he's just not fit enough, or maybe just not enough confidence to realize just direct play with the ball direct and go at the defender. Also, he had that one shot that I thought he could have definitely scored, the cross from Ronaldo. I thought it was a save, but I believe it was the defender came in and blocked it. He was trying to put it, far, going to the far post, which you can kind of understand. He's trying to guess where the goalie's going to go instead of, he could put it near post. He could have. That's unfortunate that it doesn't go in, but again, it was a good chance, and that's what you want to see. You want to see some improvements. Again, I'm not trying to say he had an amazing game, but there was some bright spots there. That's kind of what you want to see in a player who's trying to get back to some semblance of normal.
Yeah.
But again, so I thought the Kulusevski and Dybala link-up was non-existent. I'm starting to think that this attack, and this is no slight on Ronaldo, I'm not going to bash the guy. Excuse me. But when we get into this free role that it seems like everybody has, I just think it's a shambles up top. To be honest, I know it works with Morata. The reason why I think that is because Morata knows to kind of stay in that kind of close role to where Ronaldo, he gets that link up a little bit better than it seems like everybody else does. In this game, it just seemed like everybody was everywhere and didn't know where the hell they were going. And like you said, and when your midfield's not linking up, that's makes it even worse to, finding guys and stuff like that. So I think we got to kind of bring it back and go into a somewhat of a structure because and we'll see in the weekend. We'll see against Barcelona. Sorry. Obviously, Morata's probably going to be back in the lineup. We'll see if this works. We'll see if maybe it's just, Dybala not getting, Dybala plus whoever was on there just not having a bad day, or if this is a lingering, problem for the attack. I mean, I know we've scored, but it hasn't really been great the whole year.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you there.
No, go ahead.
No, I totally agree with you. I think it's been too fluid. People are playing out of position. People are dropping back where they shouldn't be dropping back. People are playing forward, like Rabiot. Rabiot was playing all the way up the left side.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be more structure, like you said, where people are sticking to their positions instead of roaming around.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense.
Well, that's why I think Dybala's having such a problem, because now, again, I'm still not 100%. I'm starting to lean more that he's getting asked to drop back. But I still think in his mind, he's thinking, well, look, there's midfielders going up, fullbacks are up on both sides. You have both mids going up whenever they want. There's no room really or space. So he's thinking, okay, the ball's not coming to me anyways, because he'll kind of drift right sometimes, and Kulusevski will come up top, which I don't get how that makes any sense to have a smaller guy kind of out wide. But so we weren't really going through the middle either. So he's thinking, okay, well, I got to come back, and then it just becomes a norm where he's always coming back, and he's so far away. There was a few times where he did go up there, but it seemed to just resort to that same tactic, like you said, where he drops back, and that's never going to work, especially when you're not going through the middle. I mean, we kind of started doing it towards the end, but Torino was so tight at the back, and we hadn't really opened them up at all. So really, it was useless what we were doing. So then we resorted to the crosses, and again, when a team's going to sit back for that long, pretty much the whole game, they're going to tire out. And, those 2 goals that we scored happened because, they forget to man mark. They let guys go in the box, and then eventually we get the goal. So, again, it's more of an out-talent and out-tire the team than really a team win because we were looking good. But we'll get into the kind of the crux of a big discussion on Twitter. Juan Cuadrado. And look, a lot of people were giving the guy praise. He obviously scored that 1 goal, which I thought should have stood. In my personal opinion, I think that's a bullshit rule. Not in the sense that if you're actually obstructing the keeper to make sense. But you look at the back shot, if you want to call it. You have Sirigu on the left. You have Bonucci on the right with, I can't remember which Torino defender was there.
Ansaldi.
Okay. He's kind of marking him, but he's not in direct line of sight of. He can obviously see where the shooter is because he knows he jumps to the right. It does. Okay, you can make an argument, sure, if it deflects off of Bonucci. That's one thing. But it doesn't touch Bonucci, and I believe it touches the Torino defender slightly. There's no obstruction there. I mean, that to me is a ridiculous call. You're picking at small things. It's like the millimeter offside. Like, that's something that doesn't need to be called. There's no reason. The ball didn't get deflected. He wasn't blocking his sight or anything like that. Barely goes. I mean, that should have stood. But anyways, it is what it is. The call's made. But that would have been a nice goal from Cuadrado. But in this game, I just found like he was making the millions of mistakes that we've seen either in the defensive half losing the ball or the offensive half losing the ball, making obviously some good crosses, some good runs. A lot of crosses that weren't making it as well. I personally thought Chiesa had a better match. He was actually trying to drive. He was trying to drive at it. He was putting in some work. It almost reminded me of Dybala last season. When he would come on, he would really like put some energy in, and it would kind of raise the team up. So it reminded me of that, and I thought, okay, I respect that, and I think he should be the man of the match. A lot of people were saying Cuadrado. I don't know what your thoughts are, Dean, on him this season, but give us kind of your take on his match and kind of how you've seen him so far.
I mean, I love Juan. Like, don't get me wrong, I really do. I mean, he works really hard. He works his heart out for us. I mean, just by, at the end of the day, he's not a right back. He's not he's not a right back. I mean, and he's putting all those crosses in. I know we have attacking backs and everything, but this guy is not that type of player. I mean, he's gonna have his problems in defense. So what do you expect? I mean, and yes, in Chiesa, I do agree with you. He fought very hard the other day, and I think he definitely should have been consideration for man of the match if it wasn't for Tech or Delict. But
Tech, we got to give him his due as well. He made a lot of key saves again. You look at the game against Kiev. Bailed us out before the half there. I would say he bailed us a few times out this game as well. But back to Cuadrado. I think I don't know. I think stats wise, sure, you could say 2 big assists. Obviously, 2 crosses that led to 2 goals.
Right.
Obviously makes a difference in the game. But I just think you can't. If someone does 17 things wrong and then does 2 things good, you can't overlook the bad just because, favorably, the 2 things make the difference in the end of the day. And again, a win's a win, but I've been kind of going back and forth with some fans. It's like, okay, sure, that's fine. You want to celebrate the win, but we have to look at this in sequence with a bunch of other games to say we're just not there yet. Because at the end of the day, it comes to the same things over and over again, whether it be last year, the year before, or the year before that, where we out-talent and, we outscale other teams. And this year maybe a little bit less. Now we haven't gotten as many points as maybe past seasons. But because teams have, cut the gap and have gotten a little bit better and more consistent. But you have to be, you got to look at it. That's why I almost sometimes wish we lose games, because there's no lessons when you win. I mean, at the end of the day, the same story is, oh, well, we won the game, so who gives a shit? That's what I hear all the time, right? But it's like, yes, but if you're not looking great and then you go out and perform like you do against Lyon, or you go perform against Ajax, or you go perform against whoever, like, that's why you get knocked out of tournaments, because you're not fixing what the problems you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, I think Cuadrado, based on stats, you'll probably give it to him as man of the match. I thought Chiesa did really well the entire game. I thought the midfield was dead, like we said. But what do we need to see? Do you think Artur really needs to be back in the lineup? Kind of what's your preferred midfield going into this game against Barcelona?
I mean, I think he definitely should. I mean, it should be him and probably Rabiot. I mean, I have my own personal feelings about the formation, and I don't, I feel like it should be switched up completely, but that's for another day.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we can get to that later.
We got a question about that, so we'll definitely talk about that.
Absolutely. I think he definitely should be in there. Yes, and with Cuadrado, you're putting lipstick on a pig, when it comes to all the good stuff and bad stuff. But things get glazed over as for a win. I think Artur needs to be back in. I think, you have to keep Chiesa out wide.
I agree.
I would say keep Dybala center as much as possible, but who knows how people are going to move around.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It's almost like it's just a clusterfuck up there.
That's putting it nicely.
And you think I think Artur would have been really nice in that game, especially because I find he is direct compared to the past. I know in a past episode we've talked about would Pjanic have done the same thing under Pirlo, and I think Pjanic's legs were kind of gone, and it's just that's kind of the reason why he wasn't moving as obviously Sarri was. And it was new tactics, and there's a whole bunch of reasons, you could come up with that. But I just think the players kind of was gone from what we had seen in the past. Yeah. You can't really base what we saw at the beginning of his career with Juve towards the end. It's just two different players, and it's unfortunate. But we've obviously moved on, and I think we've moved in the right direction. But yeah, it would have been nice even for 30 minutes just to kind of see a little bit more direct. But yeah, I don't know. Again, with the midfield, it's almost, you see McKennie do it sometimes when he's on there. You see Ramsey, you see, like you said, Rabiot, Bentancur. Is this tactically, you think, what Pirlo's asking? Or do you think they're doing it on their own? Or do you think, again, it's just because of the fluidity of the squad just being able to, hey, kind of do what you want up top?
I would hope it's not the players doing it on their own. I have a feeling it's some of the coaches getting in their ear, telling them, hey, press a little more, drop back. I don't think they'd be doing this personally. I think it's just the problem with the formation and things aren't clicking and stuff like that. So people are out of position.
Yeah, and we'll get into this next topic. Obviously, Pirlo's lack of experience isn't really seeping through. And we go into this game where, again, we're coming off a positive note. It's not really going our way in the first half, but you don't see really any changes or kind of and a topic we discussed on the podcast or on the La Panchina on the live video was, is he being too friendly? Is he giving too much of a leash to the players? Because as himself, he was a player, and he might have, in a sense, when you're not doing well, you'd almost hope that your coach gives you a little bit more of a leeway to kind of go out and prove yourself. So do you think because of that player mentality, he's not kind of being tough and saying, you know what, this isn't working, let's get someone else on there and see if we can change some things up? Or do you think maybe he's just he thinks we're not doing as bad as the fans kind of are seeing?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. When watching the broadcast on ESPN, actually one of the commenters made a good point. He could be still in that player mode where it's like, I don't want to pull this guy off because I know he doesn't want to come off. He still feels like he has a little bit more to give. And I understand that being a player, and I'm still kind of in that mindset. But you have to know when to switch things up. We didn't get adjustments until the 75th minute, and that's way too late.
Exactly.
So I feel like he's still a little bit in his feelings, maybe. But I'll chalk that up to being new. But you have to when you're the manager, you have to make the hard decisions.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's been a whole bunch of opportunities where we've seen this, and like I said, the Ferencváros game sticks out in my mind, the second one at least, and I think really it's coming down to changing at 60, changing it, being way too predictable. You have to set the tone. You have to be in the other coach's head and kind of making decisions before so that he has to react to them. And it just doesn't seem like we're there. I mean, I believe it was the 57th minute or 59th where Ramsey came in, and I still don't think that was really anything that changed much. Because again, it kind of put us in that same possible, Kulusevski goes off, but it still didn't feel anything different than how we were playing. And then, again, like you said, 75th. So I think there's a lot of learning that still needs to be done. I wasn't even still happy with McKennie coming on and Sandro coming on because it almost felt like we didn't need to put those guys in. And like, especially Sandro to come in and to keep Cuadrado on. I know he provides the assist, but the guy was rested for a reason. He didn't start for a reason. And I was actually quite pleased to not see him start because in past seasons, we've run the guy into the ground and played him for 20 games straight and then wondered why he picks up an injury at the end of the season. So that was nice. But then to see him come on, I was like, okay, well, this is a little too late. And again, we got lucky in Torino kind of being gassed out and sitting back for a whole game, which, you even look at Zaza when he came off, he was kind of frustrated that he was getting taken off, almost like they were admitting that they were going to concede or that they were going to, sit back for the rest of the game.
Sure.
And it's just, it's unfortunate. And I see now we're already in the rumblings of who's going to be out with Barcelona in the midweek. I think a lot of their players are going to be not in the lineup. Like Fati's going to be out, and Sergio Roberto I think will be out as well. So a lot of fans are getting that motivation, and I'm like, well, don't get your hopes up too much because we've seen this in the past where we came into that first game. Oh, they got PK, they got this guy out, that guy out. Yep. And then we go in and we laid it an absolute egg. And it's just unacceptable, especially, you look at the big names that are lining up. You even look at Atletico Madrid now. I believe they're like 5 in a row, 5 games at least undefeated in La Liga. But some of the other teams you could potentially come up against in the next round are pretty big teams if you get in that second spot. And I believe it was we need obviously to win by 2+ goals. So it's still a possibility. Let's not say it isn't. But they need to come out in the right mindset. You're not going to win this game just because you think the other team is in a bad spot.
Right.
Obviously, Barcelona losing to Cadiz 2-1 on yesterday, exactly. So let's see what happens. What are your hopes for this midweek?
I mean, yeah, like you said, I hope it's not a, we can ride a high right now and maybe help us out, but I would like to see some consistency from game to game, or at least I'm a little doubtful. I mean, because we have talent, obviously, but like when it comes to certain depth and stuff like that, I don't feel like we can compete with some of these bigger teams and stuff like that. So, I mean, we'll take it what it is. Maybe, like I said, we can ride the high and keep it going, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with being the wins that we've gotten. I mean, hopefully, let's really hope that that we can, like you said, ride it, and it'll be big because Ronaldo will obviously be playing.
Yes.
Messi will also be playing. So it's gonna be a big night, big game, and again, let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
And let's get into some fan questions. So obviously, Mason drops. Are we gonna be able to keep a clean sheet? I think that's been obviously this was supposed to be for the Torino game, but I think just in general we've been touching on it pretty well. I think defensively we've been pretty bleak and not compact enough. Again, that includes not enough help from the fullbacks, barring Alexandro not being in the lineup. I thought that was really nice when you saw Danilo or when you saw Chiesa and Alexandro there, both on each side, with Danilo in there as well, being your right back once you kind of go into 4-4-2 without possession. I thought that was really nice to see. But again, I think we were joking about it on La Panchina, and Auber's making fun of everybody's picking a clean sheet as your prediction.
Yeah.
And it's true though. I mean, defensively, we're not getting enough support. It doesn't help when their midfielders are going up that advanced into the final third, and then not having the football IQ to know when they have to come back and help out. And teams can just overrun you. I mean, 5 against 3, 5 against 2. Once they get on their horse, if you're not getting back there, you're going to be in a vulnerable situation. So, what are your thoughts about shoring up? He also asked a question, and again, this could tie into what you might want to say. But Mason, obviously, of Vecchia Signora blog, he's doing bits, guys. Check out his blog posts. He's doing really well, and he's just posted a big interview with the head of the Juventus Boston Academy. So I read it. It was a really interesting article to read, and I hope you guys check it out. Show the love, because Mason's going to be a mainstay kind of in the Juventinità circle, universe. So guys, check him out. But he also said thoughts on the expected formation change, too much rotation, good experimentation, and we'll tie this in also with Luis's question at Crazy Lou, and I had to throw this in from another. I completely missed it it was on my personal that it was tagged to. What is our best lineup, formation and personnel? Not sure Pirlo knows yet. So kind of thinking about clean sheet, expected formation changes, too much rotation, good experimentation, and best lineup. Kind of let's tie that together, Dean, on what we think that all means in the grand scheme of Juve.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trust this team to keep a clean sheet right now.
Yeah, true
I
enough.
really don't. Just to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, like you said, we get overmatched, 5-on-2s, 5-on-3s, or and it could even be 1-on-1. The only person I trust on a 1-on-1 situation probably right now is Della.
Facts.
And yeah, nobody's backtracking. I think that's why one of the benefits of having a 4-back system, you can have the fullbacks there for coverage, especially on the wings. And I guess just to tell you my personal preference, I really would probably look into like a 4-2-3-1, or possibly even a 4-4 or a 4-3-3. It's, I mean, I just feel you get better coverage that way. And to plug the personnel in, I mean, obviously Chiellini's hurt, so it'd probably be Bonucci and De Ligt in the back. I hate to put them out there, but I probably would put Cuadrado in the back in the right, and Sandro if he's healthy in the left.
Okay.
And then I honestly feel like, keep I think Rabiot's our best defensive minded midfielder. Maybe help keep him in the back unless you want to put McKennie back there. And then, let Artur be the connection between the back and the front. If we want to go with Kulu or Chiesa on the wings, and then obviously Ronaldo should be the guy up front. I personally would like to see Dybala be that attacking mid, possibly, or even like that false 9. I feel like that's just the best position for him. So sorry about the whole team sheet there, but
no worries. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I just feel like that's just with what the personnel we have, it just makes the most sense to get the most out of this team.
Yeah, and I would almost even you could put Danilo there on the right back instead of Cuadrado, and then like I said, then you have options up top. I don't want to get into specifics because you don't know who's injured, who's not, and again, they're gonna. So your top 3, I mean, you could do a whole bunch of things. You could put Morata up top. You could put Ronaldo on the left, Dybala behind, and then have either Chiesa, Kulusevski, Bernardeschi in any of those roles. I think you could kind of rotate even Cuadrado as those 4. And then again, it depends on what you want to do and who you have for your 2 behind. So you can get McKennie in there, where his role is not going to be to push up and like make runs like we've seen him do. It's to win the ball back and kind of make key tackles and be a workhorse. And then you obviously have your Artur, who he can give Artur the ball and then he can distribute it properly.
Right.
And then you're solid enough, even if you do have Bonucci in the back, that you have Alexandro there who's defensively smart enough. Danilo has been really good defensively as well, but also you've seen him attack. And you've seen actually Alexandro make, even just in that one game, some really good strides in the offensive half.
Right.
I think, I agree. I think that suits us way better. Also, to give us a little bit more in the midfield, you could put the 3-4-3-3, where you put 3 midfielders. Again, it could be Artur in the middle, and maybe, whoever. If you want to put Bentancur, if you want to put McKennie, you want to put Rabiot. And then up top, again, you could do a false 9 with Dybala, Ronaldo on the left. And again, your choice, right? We have the option. So it's not like you have to say, this is your starting. But yeah, no, I've been harping on the 4-2-3-1 just because we haven't seen it at all. But yeah, that's what I definitely like to go to. I think, again, Pirlo's a little naive in certain situations on who he puts on. Maybe he rides the wave a little bit because he knows it's worked. And that comes down to inexperience because, again, it's not always going to work. And that's the unfortunate part. Like, sure, it's worked for the past 3 games, but teams have been, a little bit loose in their pressing, and they've been a little bit more compact. So maybe they're not as attacking as some other teams or pressing as some other teams. So again, it's not going to work in all situations. That's where the coach obviously has to be adaptable.
Right, for sure.
Where we gave Sadi a lot of heck because it seemed like he was a one-track mind and he just kind of tunnel vision the whole season. And and a formation that I definitely think works with the 4-3-3. But there were certain situations where it didn't look good, but he didn't have the wherewithal to be like, okay, well, we're going to change it up a little bit now. So kind of where in the prime Allegri days where he'd be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I find towards the end of Allegri, it wasn't as good as what we thought it was going to be. But in his first 3 seasons, I would say definitely would be able to change the formation, no problem. Bring in certain players that would make the difference. And that's kind of what we've been lacking over the past 2 seasons. Let's see what happens. Demiral obviously is going to be out again. Injury bug. I don't know what's up with this club, but we seem to be. You've seen a couple situations in this game that scared the crap out of me with Della and even a couple other players. I don't know. We rush guys back too much. I find
we do.
And everybody's quick to criticize Chiellini, but they also don't realize that he was already hurt. And then all of a sudden seemed to be like, oh, now we're going to put him back in when he really wasn't in the squad.
Right.
And now he's hurt again. Obviously, Demiral picks up another injury, which you saw in the match against Kiev. Obviously, he came off, and we had to give the young Dragusin some time, which was nice to see. But it's unfortunate that we lose a player, right? You don't want to see him in those circumstances.
No, that's for sure.
Let's see what happens. I think we'll wrap up here, obviously, with a great story moment, memorable moment that we usually like to wrap up when we have new guests. I don't think we've heard too many of these this year because we've had a lot of repeat guests, but it's nice to have a new face on the podcast.
Sure.
And we'll leave the floor to you before we kind of wrap up towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in my short time as being a Juve supporter, there are some good memories that stick out. I haven't unfortunately been to the stadium or seen the match live yet, but I definitely plan on it. Haven't been to Italy yet.
COVID.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Everybody wants to get back, but hey,
exactly.
Damn.
I do plan on making a trip to Italy at some point. Hopefully very soon, sooner rather than later. Anyway, a major moment for me. I remember watching. This is probably like 2012 or 13, right at the very start of this, nine run that we're doing. Yeah. Watching, being very fresh into the football type of culture, and watching Juve lift the trophy, the Serie A trophy, first time in my fandom. I just remember sitting in my room watching it on some channel I've never even heard before. Like I didn't even think I got it on my cable provider. And then just watching them lift the trophy, watching the confetti come down, watching all the players celebrating, it's something that sticks with me.
Yeah, I mean, it always is, because I find every moment that Juve's had a celebration, something, like the first season, so 11-12, coverage is sparse in Canada. I mean, for being a developed country, and maybe this, again, if you want to blame it on, Serie A, or you want to blame it on Canada or whatever, but the coverage was just always horrible. And it was the last year of this specific channel before they were bought out by one of the big sports networks in Canada, that they had the coverage. So next year they didn't have the coverage. I believe we had to go stream everything again, or it was on Rai, one of the two. Which would always have it, but they have literally 1984 144p cameras or something. I don't know what the hell they were filming on, but just horrid. So that sticks out to, again, kind of a similar situation, because they actually showed us, with Del Piero coming off, and they actually showed the title, which you would never usually see ever. You'd have to somehow go on a computer and see, okay, can you find a stream of Sky Sports Italia or whatever, whoever's got it. So there's been weird things. Obviously, you guys had a couple where they've showed the parades and stuff like that. I've been to one live where we've had the trophy ceremony, which is incredible. Pain in the ass to get those tickets, but I won't rehash that again. But literally was phenomenal fans rushing the stadium. So I get what you mean about, you know, the confetti coming down. And I mean, I wish everybody could experience that live, or, you know, at least, you know, on TV. It's awesome. Again, no one got to experience this one because it was, again, COVID, and
Right.
so many fans I talked to are saying, you know, I wanted to go. I really wanted to go. I had tickets booked. It was my anniversary. It was this, that, and the other thing. I was gonna go for the first time. It was so perfect, you know. And then we get hit with this shitstorm of COVID, and now we can't go. Yeah. So I don't know when we're gonna get back. There's a lot of good opportunities. Even the Nations League is gonna be happening in Torino and Milano. So who knows? Maybe I'll get out there. I'd love to see some of you guys. That would be unbelievable. I'd love to do content out there, but great moment. I don't know if you want to comment any more, Dean, on that. Just some final words and maybe some fighting words for the game next week.
Yeah, I appreciate all your time, Dan. I appreciate you having me on and everything. And
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I really do enjoy these type of things. I like meeting, you know, I've met so many people over just even Twitter through the Juventus kind of supporter universe and everything like that. A lot of great people, and it would be nice to see, you know, put some faces to some Twitter handles and everything like that. Hopefully I can get to a game at some point down the road when everything kind of clears up. And hey, let's ride this wave, man. Let's keep the high times going into Wednesday, and hopefully we can maybe shock some people and
for sure
gain some points, and we can maybe get something clicking by the new year.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been unfortunate too with you know, no summer tournaments either, because that's where a lot of the North American fans probably would have a really good chance of meeting, right? Either being in Boston or New York or Miami, LA, wherever, sometimes in Canada, but we don't even get those either. So with all this shit. But you're a Bruins fan, by the way, right?
I am, yes.
Beautiful. Okay, that's why he was on the show. That's why we brought him on.
Yes, yeah. I know we give we give some people some shit sometimes. So
yeah, no, man, I love that team. I got to make it out there too. Like I've been telling, you know, the Joes, even Rose and some of the other fans on the East Coast. So, like, I got to make it over there because really all started with my dad, right? And they were living in Yonkers.
Gotcha.
And kind of, you know, all of the brothers kind of found a team. My grandfather, who's unfortunately passed away, but he was a Bruins fan. Same with my dad, and it's kind of passed on to me now too. So, but yeah, no, those new jerseys they brought out are sick.
Yes, they are. I do enjoy them, and my wife and I, we went to Boston last year for our honeymoon.
Oh, nice.
And we went to TD Garden, stuff like that. Unfortunately, didn't get to see the game because it wasn't season yet, but just being there is kind of cool. Yeah.
Great city, I've heard. Great city.
It was a beautiful city. I love to. I go back anytime. I catch some flack from my friends because I am originally, I'm from New Jersey myself personally.
Okay.
So I could have been a Devils fan. I also, now living in Pennsylvania, I could be either a Pens fan or a Flyers fan. My wife is a big New England sports fan, so we kind of chose hockey together, and we settled on the Bruins. So it's a little special connection that way. Yeah,
me too. It was started obviously with the Bruins, and then I started, you know, as some of the teams, you know, the Patriots went through their run, and they, you know, then the Red Sox had come back, had won for so long, so I kind of jumped on a lot of those bandwagons. For me, it was usually always hockey, but you know, it was nice to see. And then unfortunately not this year for the Patriots. But are you closer to Philly, or are you closer to Pittsburgh?
We're closer to Pittsburgh because we're literally smack dab in the middle of geographical center of Pennsylvania. But we're 2.5 hours from Pittsburgh and 3 from Philly.
Oh shit! So you are perfectly in the.
Yeah, they planned that out pretty well.
Well, it's funny how they, you know, getting on kind of a side note, guys. I mean, you can tune out, I guess, if you don't want. But it's weird where college towns are displaced. Like for us in Canada, majority of them are in your major cities, right? Like, you know, your New Calgary, UBC, which is just a little ways out of Vancouver, U of T, and then obviously we do have, you know, smaller towns that have universities in Canada, but majority they're in the cities, right? So then when you think about, you know, unless you're going to USC, which is in LA, or UCLA, or what's another big city? You know, your Boston College or University of Boston, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, to the Texas and the Ohio State and all of it, and even some of the schools in Michigan. You know, Ann Arbor is not is not a it's a big town, but it's not your Detroit's or your they probably grow overnight when the fans come in. But it was always interesting to see where these where certain towns are placed. And again, going to Penn State, I always wondered where the hell it is. But right middle of the state. That's pretty cool. But,
yeah, they planned it out pretty well, I guess, because it's supposed to be the state university, so they want to put it right in the middle of the state.
So everyone can go.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're not really missing much here besides we got tons of mountains and tons of farms. So
there you go. There you go. Yeah, no, I love college football. I'm an SC fan. When I kind of picked up college football, we were kicking ass, and then NCAA slapped our hands for doing what everyone else does. So
just a little bit. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much the death penalty, almost there. I'm sure surprised they didn't go that route, but
well, my school knows a little something about being close to the death penalty. So unfortunately,
it is what it is. I mean, lots of bad things happen at these schools, and who gets caught and who doesn't get caught is one thing. But I know we played a pretty big game. I know we got the upper hand in the Rose Bowl, which was incredible game with Saquon Barkley and stuff like that. And
that was a hell of a game.
Yeah, I was shocked that we actually hung in there. And like that's the first big trophy in like 15 years, probably 15 years almost.
Yeah.
So it was fun, but it was good to have you on, Dean. I appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch. We'll get you on the schedule somewhere down the road, and guys, thank you for all the support. You guys know where to follow us. Obviously, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. What else we got? Podbean, whole bunch of others. And again, I always say, let me know if you need anything else, whether that be Stitcher or I think we got TuneIn. I think we even got Amazon if you want. We got it pretty much 99% covered for you guys. I think live streams, I finally figured out how to use the StreamYard without my computer like collapsing. So we're probably gonna get some live streams going. I've kind of had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do. It's gonna be a little different from the normal. It's not gonna be during games, or maybe we'll get during games eventually. But as of right now, I think we're gonna have a Saturday night kind of talk with everybody. So let's see. Not necessarily in the near future, but I got to think about it. I got to plan it, and we got to get some nice logos. Like Nilesh has been balling with the Cafe alla Juventinità. I love what he did for that logo. So
looks great.
I gotta figure something out, and we'll get it all together. But again, guys, stay tuned. We're gonna have obviously Barca preview, some other fans talking about this game and just Juve in general. So thank you for all the support. Drop a sub, drop a like, a rating, all of that good jazz if you can. It really helps me out. And we'll see you next time. Fino alla fine, Forza Juventus. Ciao, guys.